Oh well. Okay. Maybe here in a minute I can see your comments. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? I hope you're having a great day. I am Laurie Anne. I am a design coach in Julie Samaco's Wreath of the Month Club for Southern Charm Wreaths. And Julie has invited me on again. We are going to do a very pretty Christmas Cardinal wreath, and I can't wait to get started. I hope everybody is having a good day. Let me just see what's going on here. All right, we're good. I'm going to go ahead with it. Not quite sure why it's not showing me comments yet, but here we go. Are you ready for Christmas? Have you thought about your home decor? Have you thought about what you might be offering to your potential buyers if you make wreaths? Now is the time to gear up and get ready for Christmas. That's what we're doing here. That's what members in the Wreath of the Month Club are doing. And I just love it. I love Christmas. So today I am going to be designing with a cardinal sign. Hang on one second and I will get this out of the bag for you, and I will bring you down and show you exactly everything that I have coordinated together. A very pretty cardinal sign, really pretty. This is a 12-inch sign. It already has the 2 holes in it. If you need to put holes in yours in different places, you can with a jewel punch. But these already have 2 holes pre-drilled for you, okay? All right, so I'm going to bring you down real quick and I'm going to show you the items that I have put together. I hope everybody can see me and all is good. All right, so here is my sign and I'm going to turn it around for you, and it is so pretty. Very rustic, very wintry looking. Cardinals are very big this season. I see a lot of them in different design elements, and I thought we'd do a cardinal today. I will be working on a 16-inch grapevine wreath. However, we're going to do a bow, and I have chosen this 2.5-inch cardinal ribbon and a solid red 1.5 inch. And the reason why is I want to pull the red out of this cardinal and the berries. So that's why I've gone with a solid. These are canvas ribbons, which they go along with the more outdoor nature rustic feel. So these are my ribbons. I have chosen these sprays, very pretty. Now, as you can see in the sign, there is snow covering the branches, and this mimics it very well. There's snow on the branches as well as the berries. We have fern, we have eucalyptus, we have holly in here. We have 3 or 4 different types of greenery in here. So I'm excited about that. And then I have also pulled in some very pretty cypress to go along with this. My greens match perfectly to the green in the sign. So I'll be working with some cypress on this. And then I have also pulled over some pine cones. And the reason why I've gone with some pine cones is I want to pull the color out of this cardinal. I think it's the female. Yeah, I think this cardinal is the female. I want to pull her colors out as well, a little bit of brown. Okay, so here we go. Let me see if I can still see your comments or see anybody's comments. Unfortunately, right now, there we go. Very good. Now, let me see. All right. Now maybe I can see the comments. All right. So we're going to get started. I'm going to move this stuff over for right now. Now, Julie teaches us in Wreath of the Month Club that we are to always, if possible, put our largest elements in our wreath first. And you can go from largest and then you work your way down. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pull this back around. And first of all, on this grapevine, I'm going to figure out which side I want my sign to be on. It really doesn't matter. It's just where you think your eye goes to where you think would be best. And I like this right here. Now, let me pull you in a little bit closer and I'm going to explain why I chose this right here. Okay. This side of the grapevine is very smooth. If it's an even width around it. And this looks much better than this side right here. This side right here has a lot of, although I've cleaned it up, it has a lot of jagged edges. It just doesn't look quite as together as this side does. So I'm going to design on this side, and I'm going to put my sign, over here to cover this up. I'm going to design on this side, and I'm going to put my sign right here to cover it up. Okay? Now what I do is, get me some florist wire here, is I decide on where I want my sign to go. And I'm going to put a bow in here. So I don't want my sign to come all the way over. If I did, my elements and my bow would cover this cardinal up really well. And I don't want that. I want her to shine just like he will. All right. So I'm going to pull my sign over this way a little bit. With the back, in the back of my mind, thinking about how far out my elements are going to come. Will it cover her up or not? And about right here is not going to cover her up. You know, it might come in just a little bit, but it's not going to cover her. And I am going to attach this. Now, the easier way to do this, I know a lot of people struggle with putting signs on. And I'm going to give you a little tip. Julie taught me this many moons ago. Is hold your sign and your grapevine in place and pull it to the edge of your table without it coming completely off. Okay? Get you to where you can see a little bit better. All right? Here's my hole. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my florist wire and I'm going to push it straight through the grapevine. Okay, I got a piece of glue string right there. And then I'm going to take the other side and I'm going to push it through the grapevine also. And I am going to pull it down and twist it. Now, as you'll notice, my sign did not move out of place. It stayed right where it was supposed to be. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to bring it off the edge. Here's my hole. I'm going to stick my florist wire through. Okay. I'm going to bring the other side and I'm going to stick it through some florist wire also. I'm going to pull them through and I'm going to twist. Now, you can always cover up the wire with elements like a leaf or whatever you're designing with. That can always be covered up. All right. So now I'm going to look at it and I'm going to make sure it's right where I want it to be. And it is. So I'm going to turn it over. Take my florist wire or my wire cutters. I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to take my needle nose pliers. I'm going to turn this back down into the grapevine. Okay. And when I am finished designing this, I will go in and clean this back up and cover it up. Okay. So there we go. That's what we have so far. Okay. Now we're going to make the bow. Okay. So first of all, you need to think about where you want your bow to go. Do I want it up here? Do I want it in the middle, directly across from the birds or the cardinals, or do I want it lower? Okay. I think I'm going to put it right here between the 10 and 11 o'clock position on a clock. Okay. So our sign is our largest element. The next largest element that we're going to have is our bow, and that's what we're going to put in. I don't want a real fancy bow on this. This is just more a natural looking wreath. At least that's the design I have in my head. So I kind of want this real, I don't want to say casual, real natural looking. I don't want a real stuffy bow. I want one that's airy and, you know, look to make one that is going to be kind of natural looking. All right. So first of all, let's notice this. I have ribbon that is going in one direction. All right. And on my bow, I'm not going to worry about it. If I choose to put streamers coming down out of the wreath later on, I'm going to make sure that my directional bow is going in the right direction. But for right now, making this bow, I'm not going to worry about it, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out an 8-inch ribbon tail. I'm going to come up and I'm going to pinch, all right, and pleat right here. Now I'm going to measure out a 6-inch. On my measuring mat, I'm going to measure out 12 inches. And if you're measuring it on your mat or on a ruler, whatever you're doing, 12 inches will become a 6-inch loop. So I'm going to measure out 12 inches, bring it to the back, and I am going to pleat it, pinch it, pleat it, and I'm going to twist away from me. All right. I'm going to come again and measure out 12 inches. If you are using the Easy Bow Maker, you would measure out a 6-inch loop. Okay. I have pinched and pleated. Now I'm going to twist it towards me. So anything that you make above your thumb, you twist away from you. Anything you make below your thumb, twist towards you. Okay? I'm going to measure out 8 inches. I'm going to cut. Okay, that's going to be very pretty. I'm going to bring my 1.5-inch red ribbon. I'm going to measure out 8 inches. This time I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So I am going to pleat, pinch, pleat. I'm going to measure out 12 inches, bring it to the back. I'm going to pinch and pleat it and twist away from me. I'm going to measure out 12 more inches. I'm going to pick it up, pinch and pleat, twist towards me, and cut 8 inches. Okay. Now what I need to do is I want to get my ribbon tails, my loops, exactly where I want them to be. Okay. And my goal with my loops is to have them come directly across from each other. Okay. So that's what I have so far. The last thing I'm going to do to pull out these cardinals is I'm going to make another 8-inch tail. I'm going to pinch and pleat, and I'm going to make a 5-inch loop, which measures out to 10 inches on my mat. I'm going to pinch and pleat. I'm twisting and I'm cutting. Okay, and this is going to kind of be the middle section of my bow. I can move these ribbon tails around after I get it done. I want to make sure my tails are to the back though, which they are, and there we go. That's what we have. I'm going to now take a piece of florist wire. I'm going to turn my hand over like I'm checking my watch. As Julie says, I'm picking up my pointer finger. I'm going to take my florist wire, put it underneath my finger, wrap the wire around the bow. Okay, and I'm going to pull tightly. I'm going to get my tails in the same place I want them one more time before I twist down. Okay, that's what we have. I'm going to pull. Now, I'm pulling away with my hand that's holding the wire, and I'm pulling towards me with the hand that's holding the bow. Okay, and at the same time I'm pulling, and that helps give me the tight tension that I need. Okay, so I'm going to pull and pull in opposite directions, and I'm twisting at the same time. Now I'm twisting the bow, I'm not twisting the wire. And you want to make sure you twist the bow because you do not want your wire to break. All right, and that's what we have. I am going to dovetail these. If I need to cut these down even more later, I can. That will be perfectly fine. I hope you all are having a great day and that your weather is good. You're enjoying the fall weather that is arriving in different places right now. I'm here in North Carolina and it is still quite hot, but that's okay. Cooler weather will prevail. Okay. There we go. Let's get this cleaned up. I'm going to put my ribbons off to the side. Now, one more thing I want to do before I put it up is I want to place my bow where I want it to be. Okay, you remember what I was talking about not covering her up? Not covering her up. When I put my bow in, I want to make sure that I do not cover her up. Okay, so I think I'm going to go right here. I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to pull it to the edge of the table, let my wire go completely through with my two pieces. I'm going to make sure that she is looking good, which she is, and I am going to twist my wire down. I generally twist about 3/4 to an inch out. Okay. And there we go. Once I get it up on the easel, I can adjust these more so. But there you go. Let me put her up I'm going to cut my wire, florist wire off real quick. I'm going to bend it back into the wreath like I did with the sign. And I am going to pull you up, and let's go from here. I'll pull you in a little bit. Okay. Now, I need to adjust my ribbon tails and my ribbon, get them where I want them. You can move them around. They're not going to come out. I mean, you don't want to pull it like it's a piece of, how can I put it? You don't want to pull down on it so hard that they actually come out, but at the same time, you can pull on them pretty good. Okay, and I can cut them or I can move them wherever I need to later on, but that's what we have so far. Okay, and see, you can still see her very well. All right, now we're going to put some greenery in. I love this greenery. This is cypress, and it is so pretty. It looks very realistic, and it is a long stem. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this up. Now, as you can see, I have a long piece here and an offshoot right here, and then I have these two right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these two, then I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to keep one really long. Okay, now these are pretty thick. A lot of times you can just pull it off like I just did. See, I just pulled that off. I'm going to see if I can pull these off, which I have. Let me see if I can pull this one apart. There we go. If you can pull them apart, if you can pull your elements apart, that's so much better than cutting, because you get to keep the length of the wire and you can cut down from there. You're not working with or having to deal with smaller pieces. Okay, so I have a larger one, kind of bigger one, and I can cut that down if I need to, and two small ones. All right, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut another one up. I'm just pulling them apart. Okay, that will go with this one. I like to keep the sizes together. That way I know what I'm working with. This one doesn't want to come quite apart like the first one, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I have this one right here. And I'm going to cut this one down. These are tough. A lot of wire in them. Okay. Now I want to make sure I get them all together. I'm going to cut that one apart. Okay. All right, two longer ones, two medium, four smaller ones, and two short ones. Okay, looks good. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to bend this, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put this one right here. But I'm going to cut it down some more. I'm going to put some hot glue on it. I have about that much right there of hot glue, and I'm going to come right here and I'm going to come behind the bow. And I'm going to tuck that in right there. Okay. Okay, what we do to one side, we do to another. So I'm going to take the other piece and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put the other piece right here. Okay, I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to bend it a little bit because I want it to come to life. We always want our elements to come to life. Okay. And I'm going to come up underneath the bow. And I'm going to stick it up in there. These are really thick. So I want to make sure that it is up and in there, which it is. I'm not going to worry about these ribbon tails right now because I can get them placed in exactly where I want them later. I think what I want to do is take this out. I'm going to cut this down a little bit more and put a still pick on it. This is a very thick stem, and it needs a little help getting through the grapevine. And you can use a florist pick if you don't have a still pick machine. But a lot of times when you have a really thick stem that you're trying to get in, a pick will help you, whether it's a still pick or a floral pick. Okay, there we go. That's what we have so far. Now with the pieces that I cut, I am going to come in now and I'm going to fill some areas in. I want to fill in right here. Okay. What we're doing right now is building our form. And another word for form is shape. We are making our shape of our wreath. Okay? There we go. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to stick this up in here and I'm going to bend it a little bit more just to give it some shape to go around. Okay. Now what we do to one side, we're going to do to the other. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to put some right here. And what I might do with this one is cut it down even more. That way, so the key to cutting things down helps you keep control of your elements. If you put an element in that has a lot of different legs to it, so to speak, you only have a certain amount of control over it. By cutting things down or apart, it helps you have more control over where you want to place each element. Okay? So I'm going to come right up here. I'm going to come behind here. Bend that a little bit. And the second one is going to come right here. You see how I'm starting to get my form? You always want to have a shape to your designs. Well, oh, no wonder. Those little teeny curly cues on grapevines can really get you sometimes. Thought I cut all of them off, but all right, let's try this one more time. Come in here. Put this one right here. Get it down in there good. There we go. Okay, I've got a little place right here that I need to fill in. And I'm going to come right here and fill it in with one of these smaller ones. Let's see if we have any questions. Nope. Now, if you'll notice, this one is shorter than the other ones that I have put in. And the reason why is I'm trying to keep my shape. So let me talk to you just a minute about shape. Okay? I have an imaginary line that I am thinking in my head that runs around this right here. And I do not want to come out of that imaginary line. Okay? And if I had a really long one, it would have come out, because this part of my grapevine right here, is the widest part of the grapevine. So if I put a really long piece on the widest part, it would come out way too much. So that's why I put a somewhat smaller length piece of cypress right here. Okay, because I'm trying to keep my shape as I'm building it. All right, the next thing I need to do is fill in a little more. I really like that. I'll put some right here. And then I have one more. Okay. Okay, I'm going to come right here and I'm going to fill in right here. There we go. Okay, I have a hole right here that I want to fill in right here. I'm going to come right here. And I'm going to put it right here. Probably needs to come up just a hair. Now, when I'm inserting this, whether it's got a still pick, whether it's just the stem itself, or whether it's got a floral pick on it, above my bow, I am inserting downward. And below my bow, I'm inserting upward, okay? And the reason why is this bow right here is what you call the central binding point. In other words, this area right here is where the elements are going to come off of it. This brings everything together, and this is what we call a central binding point. We talk more about that in the Wreath of the Month Club, but this is what we call a central binding point. So the elements are going to look like they're coming out of the bow above, and they're going to look like they're coming out of the bow below. Okay? All right, let's look at it real quick. I think it's good for right now. I think what I want to do is move this over some, and I might figure something else later, but let's keep going. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one little piece off because it is covering up my cardinal, and I will replace it, put it somewhere else later on. Okay, that's what we have so far. Okay, I still have a couple of little pieces left, and where I can go in and add them in later after I get some other elements in. Okay, the next thing I'm going to put in is this right here. This is going to brighten up the cypress. So we have our first greenery put in, and this has two different types of greenery on it. The usual rule of thumb, now rules are meant to be broken at times, or there are no rules when it comes to designing, but the general rule of thumb is to have 3 greeneries. 3 different types of greeneries, and this has 2 of the 3. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to break this up by just pulling it apart. Okay, I brought 3 over. I don't know if I'll use all 3, but I'm at least going to break 2 of them up. This is what they call snowberry. This is a snowberry bush. Yeah. Then I have one right here. Okay. So I want to break these up even further. That way I have complete control over each element. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. I want to make sure that in today's design, I evenly distribute all the elements throughout the wreath. So that's why I am breaking them up. So give me just a minute. We have little pieces of holly. Isn't that cute? Very cute. We have fir. We have little pieces of eucalyptus, fern, and berries. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add one style of element at a time. And I am going to start with the larger ones, which is going to be the holly. And I'm going to evenly distribute that throughout my wreath. It helps by doing this, If you're unsure about where you want to put stuff, breaking it down helps you make those decisions. I got 2 little pine cones too. And it just makes things much simpler for you if you struggle, if you're not quite sure where you're going to put things. The other thing that by doing this helps you do, yeah, of course, naturally, you have control over much more than you would if you broke it apart and just had a bundle with you. The other thing that it helps you with is even distribution and balance. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am going to come in here and I'm going to start adding some greenery. Cut these down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play for a minute. I want to see exactly where I want to put my stuff, and that's going to help me get started. Okay. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Some come up in here, maybe have some going right here. I'm going to put some back here, possibly. I think I like that right there. Okay, so we're going to start putting it in. This is little pieces of holly that have snow on them. The snow on this is going to help bring out the white that's in the sign. Okay. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put some right here. Okay, what we did to one side, we're doing to the other. I'm going to bring this up right here, and I'm going to put this right here. The other thing that this does is I am filling in the holes that are between my cypress. Okay? Now, let me cut this down so you can see it a little better. There. There you go. Now, see how I've evenly got that distributed? The next thing that I'm going to put in is I'm going to put some of this fern in. And this fern in. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 pieces, okay? So that helps me determine, I have 3 long and 3 short. No, I have 2 long and 4 short. So your longer pieces, you want to go towards the back. The shorter pieces, you kind of want to put in the front. So I'm going to bend this up a little bit, make sure it's got some life. And I'm going to come in here and put some, start right here. I'm going to put some right here. This is going in the back behind the cypress. Okay. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put some right here. Okay, I'm going to come right up in here. Put some right there. Okay. Now I have 4 pieces. of the smaller. Sorry, the glue strings are getting the best of me. Now I want to balance it out. So what I did to one side, I did to the other. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put some right here. Except this time I'm coming a little closer to the front. Put some right there. I'm going to come up underneath the bow. And I'm going to put some right here. Bend it, make sure it's got some life to it. I'm going to come right up in here. Okay. Then I'm going to come around here. Do I want some right there? I got one more. I think I'm going to put some down here on the bottom. Now, here's a little trick. If you have a piece of wire that's holding your element and it's really thin and you're trying to get it on a steel pick or a floral pick, you can always bend it over to double it up. Okay? And then put your steel pick on. I'm going to put some right here. Okay. And one more. I think I want to go right here. Right here. All right, there we go. Now you see, I've still got my form, still got my shape. All right, the next element that I'm going to put in are these 4 little pieces of fir greenery. This is going to help. Let's see if I can. This will stick. This is just adding texture at this point. But see how I'm able to control where I want to place it by breaking it up. This has got some white snow looking flock on it, and so I want to definitely accentuate the white snowy feel. Okay. Let me I put some right here. I'm going to come over here and put some right there. To kind of evenly distribute. Well, that, I think I want it to go right there. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut this one off. And that's okay to do. You will get to the point where you'll recognize, okay, now that I've got other greenery in, this is a little too much. So I need to move this, and that's what I'm doing right now. Putting that right there. Okay, the next thing I have is the eucalyptus, which this is lighter. This is a lighter green, and so it's going to lighten things up a little bit. I am going to evenly distribute this as well throughout the wreath. I'm going to bring what I do to one side, come over here. I'm going to do this right here. I am concentrating around the bow at this point. And once I get the bow, get the greenery around the bow, then I'll push out further. Okay? That bow being the central binding point helps accentuate things. Okay. Put some right there. Uh-oh, my wire's too thin. So let me double it up. There we go. There we go. Now you see how I've kind of got it around my bow. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 left, and I'm going to spread that out through the rest of the wreath. And if you can keep saying to yourself, what I do to one side, I do to the other, it will help you with your balance. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some light color on out and on down. So what I do to one, I'm going to do to the other. So I'm coming right in here, in this area right here. This adds so much texture, and texture in designs and floral designs, as well as other types of designs, will elevate. I must not have glued that in. Huh. It will, I'll put it in a minute. It will elevate your design. If you can add different types of texture. Our eyes love, love, love to see texture. It adds so much interest to our elements, to our designs. Let's get this one showing a little bit better. And it will help improve your designs if you can add texture. Okay. Now, I don't know whether the camera can pick it up, but this lighter green is adding so much to it. Let me pull you in a little bit so you can see. Can y'all see that right there? Okay. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put some right in here. I need to add this back. I wish I had a little bit more of this, but I'll figure that out in a minute. Let me continue with the greenery. Okay, I'm going to come in here and put some right here, and I'm going to add some in the back. Last piece, I'm going to come right here and put some right here. There we go. Okay, I need some greenery right here. Put some of this in here. The last thing that we have to put in are the red berries. I do have a couple of pine cones that I might add in as well. Fill that hole in just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now I want to add a little teeny bit of greenery right in here, but I don't want it to be that long, so I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. Cut it down to just a little bit. And I'm going to stick it right in here. Well, it's going to need a still pick on it. There we go. Okay, now we need to add our berries, okay? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 sets of berries. So let me just get these prepped. And one more. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure that my berries are evenly distributed. So what I do at the top, again, I do at the bottom. Okay. So I think I'm going to come over here, put some right there. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put some right here. Okay. And I'm going to put some right here. Do I want it there or do I want it here? I only have 2 left. So what I might do is move this over a little bit more. That'll get in there. This is one of the really good ways that you can make sure your stuff is evenly distributed. Okay, and move this up just a little bit, like right there. Now, if you'll notice, what I've done is I've created a triangle, okay? And that helps you in designing. Is if you're not sure, try to create a triangle, and that will help you. And see, I have a triangle here. Now, let me just step back really quick and see. Let me just look at it really quick. It always helps to look at your designs. Oh yeah, that looks evenly distributed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to hold my finger in place. And I'm going to put this right here. Okay. And come back here. I'm going to do this in the back. It will help with depth. Instead of having them all on the same plane, this one's in the back. Okay. And I'm going to come right in here. I think I'm going to put a still pick one on this one. I'm going to put this right here. Okay, now this one goes right here. Wreath making is all about layering, and the trick with wreath making is just knowing how to use those layers, what to do with those layers. That's all it is. There we go. Still put on this one. Once you get those fundamentals down pat on what to do with your layers, things get so much easier for you, and we love teaching that in our Wreath of the Month Club group. There we go. Now, I think I've got that all evenly distributed. What do you think? I think I do. Now, the last little thing that we need to do is I need to make a decision on whether I want to put my pine cones in or not. Oh, me. I forgot about this. I think I'm going to come put it right there. Put this little teeny holly branch in. There we go. Okay, I've got some pine cones. I have these, and then I have these. I think the pine cones will accentuate the brown in the little female cardinal, but at the same time it kind of worried it's taken away from her. Let me put a couple more in and see. Yeah, I think I might leave these out for the time being. All right, the last thing I want to do is I want to see about putting a couple ribbon streamers in. So I'm going to measure out 16 inches and I'm going to cut. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put some ribbon streamers in, okay? So I measured 16 inches out. I want to make sure that my directional ribbon tails are going the right way, which they are. I'm just pinching the top. I'm going to put a steel pick on it. If you have a floral pick, you can do that as well. I'm going to dovetail the end. And I'm going to stick this in. Now look, I want to make sure, I don't want to put my ribbon streamer over here. I don't want to put my ribbon streamer up here. I want it to appear as if it's coming straight out of that bow. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put it straight in the back. Okay, there it is. I'm going to do another one. Now, my tails don't have to be exactly the same length. They can be different if I want them to. There's no right or wrong way. Okay. I'm sorry I can't see your comments. Okay, now I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to put another piece right beside it. Okay, and there we go. In fact, I need to move this one up just a hair. There. There we go. Now, if I want to cut them shorter, I can cut them shorter. Okay, which I might do. I like, on some designs I make, I like my ribbon tails long. On other ones, I like them shorter. Okay. And I could come in here and put some red right here to have 3 ribbon tails. There is no right or wrong way. I am the type where I tend to go more towards odd than even. But that's just me. Sometimes I do odd, sometimes I don't. Now, I might like this at the end, and then again I might not. You can always, always take it out if you don't like it. Get that in a better place. There we go. All right. The last thing is you can come up here and you could put some ribbon tails up here as well. You could put one right here. You could put one right here. Put one right here. What you're doing is you are distributing the color throughout the design. But I think for right now we're done. It turned out very pretty. There it is. Very, very pretty. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Let me get it back to where the right place. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'm sorry YouTube wouldn't let me see your comments, but I will go back in and see if there are any questions and I will answer them. I want to thank Julie again for having me over here on the YouTube channel. If you're joining us late, again, I'm Laurie Anne. I am the design coach, or one of the design coaches in Julie Samako's Wreath of the Month Club. through Southern Charm Wreaths. Thanks for joining me. I will be back probably next week. Until then, I hope each and every one of you are blessed, and I hope that you spend time and bless someone else. Okay? Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you.